Hello, distinguished public. My name is Alexia Turceniuc, and to begin with, I would like to talk about our chosen topic, namely climate change awareness, economic and human development nexus, a novel approach. In the times we live, climate change has become a major issue and requires a certain level of awareness regarding the severity of the situation and how countries are affected in terms of human development and also economies globally. We are facing extreme weather conditions, toxic emissions released into the atmosphere, the sickness of ecosystems, and also humanity itself. And what each of us can do is to find sustainable solutions and to promote renewable energy for a better environment and also life. An important step towards the awareness is the Paris Agreement, which is an agreement signed by 196 countries aiming to reduce and combat climate change and also to limit the global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. Here I have mentioned a few key concepts for our presentation, which are the energy usage, the economic development, environmental quality and fixed effects. And today's agenda includes some literature review, data and methodology, results and discussions, and also a few conclusions that we have reached after this study. There are some relevant research papers that were helpful for our study, approaching the interest concepts. This climate change issue is increasingly researched, particularly greenhouse gas emissions, such as CO2 emissions and also energy consumption. I started the research with the purpose of finding out which are the effects of climate proxies, including polluting emissions and energy usage, upon the prosperity and also the economic development of developed and developing nations worldwide. And our research hypothesis implies that the emissions and energy usage have direct and also indirect impacts upon the economic development of nations. We have also included a description of the variables, and our dependent variable is represented by the gross domestic product per capita, while the other independent variables are the following ones: the greenhouse gas emissions, which are contributing to the global warming, the CO2 emissions per capita, measuring the environmental impact, the primary energy consumption and the primary energy consumption per capita, and also the electricity generation, which imply the electricity generated from all the energy sources. Our study was conducted on a sample of 185 worldwide countries for the specified period 2000-2022, following a fixed effects model. The first equation is a simple equation and it highlights the impact of the Human Development Index upon Y, which is represented by our dependent variable GDP per capita. And the second equation aims to do similarly and also observe the impact of our climate proxies that have been previously mentioned in slide number 5. The economic development is shown by the GDP per capita. The beta coefficients indicate the direction and also the magnitude of this influence, and epsilon the residuals. There we have provided a table of results of the fixed effects modeling, which presents positive but also negative results as we expected. For instance, 1 unit increase in our variable electricity generation decreases our dependent variable, the GDP per capita, with 0.072 units. The number of stars shows the level of significance. We have highly significant results due to the number of stars, 3 stars, which indicate a p-value less than 0.001. And for instance, the 2 stars signify a p-value less than 0.01. And 1 star corresponds to a p-value less than 0.05, which indicates a moderately significant result. From the set of graphs that we have represented in data, we have taken as an example these graphs, and the first one is about the influence of the primary energy consumption per capita on the GDP and is related to the simple regression model, while the other graph is related to the multiple regression model and it symbolizes the fact that our graph is convex, and as the level of primary energy consumption per capita is increasing, the rate of increase in the dependent variable GDP per capita accelerates too. So this means that the slope of the curve becomes steeper. Moving forward, there we have the situation for the GDP per capita as a function of electricity generation, which presents a visible concavity, which signifies that as the level of electricity generation is increasing, so does the GDP, but only up to a certain maximum level, and then the tendency is to decrease. Our research hypothesis was validated, and the study highlights the direct relationship between Human Development Index and primary energy consumption per capita, and the indirect relationship between primary energy consumption and electricity generation on the economic development of nations. The use of a fixed effects model improved our initial results, reinforcing the understanding that economic development and also climate awareness are closely intertwined. Energy consumption and emissions contribute to climate change, which in turn affects the economic growth, emphasizing the need for sustainable practices in both energy use and also economic policy. And finally, the economic development of nations is closely tied to emissions and energy consumption, particularly in less developed countries. What the government should do is to work towards reducing the emissions and the dependency on fossil fuels by adopting sustainable practices in line with the Paris Agreement targets. Individuals also play a crucial role in this transition, as fossil fuels have negative impacts on both health and the environment. We encountered some limitations in our study with the missing observations for our proxies and some significant results for some variables. And for future research, we should focus on exploring diverse methodologies to deepen the understanding of sustainable development and the economic implications of the environmental practices. Thank you.